Hello everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. And this is the book that I'll be reading from, Tales My Lama Told Me, by Pastor David Lai. The stories within were told by our Guru, His Eminence the 25th, Sam Toko Rinpoche. Today I'll continue reading from chapter 12, Shambala. And the page is 109. Here's a picture of the central figure is Kala Chakra. Right, page 109. This means Shambhala is a land that is purer, better, and easier to live in than the outside world. The lives of those who live in Shambhala are extremely long. It was said that their lives are so long that they are immortal. They are free of disease, and what they need to eat and receive is very easy to obtain. The beings there are free of delusion, although they still exist within this world. The teachings they practice are predominantly Kalachakra and were taught to them directly by Lord Buddha. This is also mentioned in the Kalachakra history. One of the reasons His Holiness the Dalai Lama gives the Kalachakra teachings to a large number of people from around the world is to connect people to this place so that they can take rebirth there later. There are also many other reasons for this, though the mind of His Holiness is too vast for us to fully understand. A well-known prophecy states that during the reign of the 25th Shambhala king, a huge war will break out. People from the outside world will eventually discover the land of Shambhala, and they will try to invade and take over the land. In order to preserve the sanctity of their land, practice and people from the outside world, the Shambhala king will declare war. The Shambhala kings themselves are highly accomplished masters because they are simultaneously king and spiritual teacher to the whole kingdom. He will emanate numerous armies from his mind, and they will in turn emanate many more armies along with his subjects. For the first time, they will leave Shambhala to go to war. They will wage war because the outside world's main problem is materialism, the root cause for the destruction of the environment, destruction in people's minds, and destruction in morality and ethics. The inhabitants of Shambhala will find the outside world to be barbaric. The Shambhala kings will come out of their land and they will fight. They will be victorious by defeating the rulers of that time. All this will happen during the reign of the 25th Shambhala king, which will probably occur around the 25th century. When they have conquered the world, the Shambhala kings will return to their land and the vanquished world will have no memory of Shambhala. Subsequently, the world will enter into another period of spiritual renaissance. It will return to ethics, morality, and spiritual practice for a short time. This will come to be because the rulers who promoted negative actions will have been killed by the Shambhala kings. It is said that if you have received the Kala Chakra teachings, you will be present at that crucial time during the great battle and you will not fall on the wrong side. It does not matter if you are from the outside world or you are from within Shambhala. Your mind will not sway towards barbaric, materialistic, or selfish thoughts. Your thoughts will go towards the practice of ethics, morality, and happiness. One of the reasons His Holiness gives the Kalachakra teachings everywhere he goes around the world is to plant seeds in our minds so that when the war of Shambhala is upon us, our minds will not stray to negative actions. Therefore, Shambhala is a real physical place that exists on earth. Within Shambhala, the Rigdens or Dharma kings are the custodians and teachers of the Dharma and Kalachakra Tantra to their subjects. They are called Rigdens, and the palace they reside in is called Kalapa. The Kalapa court is the royal court of the Shambala kings. The palace of the Shambala kings has bodyguards called Doje Kasung, and they have major domos as well, main assistants or liaisons to the king. The court has its ministers who assist the king to run his kingdom in order to promote peace and teach the Dharma to them. His Eminence Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche based his whole household on the Kalapa court of the Shambhala kings. Assignments that he gave to his subjects or students were based on the titles used within Shambhala or specifically given within the Kalapa court. There are two reasons for this. When he modeled the name of his household, his students' titles, and the structure of his ladrang, he did so based on the Shambhala Enlightened Kalapa court for organizational reasons. It was how Chogyam Trungpa organized his ladrang based on the one used by the Shambhala kings, that he was best able to disseminate the Dharma. His assistants, liaisons, major domos, and all the people working for him were all extremely well organized and had a set way to follow. On one level, with a proper organizational chart and example to follow, it was easier for him to disseminate the Dharma. Kalapa court actually became a Lama's ladrang. In this case, it would have been called Trungpa ladrang. Shambhala's connection to the world is through Kalapa court. A Lama's connection to his students and the outside world is through his ladrang. In this way, when the Lama's ladrang is extremely organized and has people who do the work well, the Dharma can spread far and wide. If the ladrang is disorganized and run by uncaring and selfish people, then the Lama is not able to manifest his teachings to others, and it becomes very difficult for him to propagate the teachings. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's household and his assistants were also given titles based on Shambhala's enlightened society, which is similar to a pure realm. The household members were given titles used within the real Kalapa court. The very title bestowed on them was a blessing for the students. Therefore, the students were given positions that were named after actual positions within the enlightened Kalapa court, as it would bless the students to obtain purification of the mind and provide imprints in the mind with two things. One is that the enlightened state of the mind that is represented by Shambhala can be attained now. And also, when they die, they can take rebirth in Shambhala. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche was Sakyong, or ambassador of Shambhala on earth. That meant he was authorized by his lineage for many lifetimes of practicing these teachings and has become an ambassador for the teacher and king of Shambhala. Shambhala's Rigden kings have ambassadors all over the world who act as beings who spread the Kalachakra teachings. All of them become portals or entrance points for people to take rebirth in Shambhala. So when Rinpoche conferred titles to these people, it may have looked like a game because of the formality of the appointment letters and the grandiose titles written on his stationery. Some people might have just taken it for granted and thought they were just funny assignments, funny departments with funny titles. But they were not funny titles and assignments because they were based on actual positions that existed in the real Kalapa court. When Rinpoche gave a particular assignment or title to a person and they performed well, they would have been able to actualize Buddhahood in this life. Then, instead of taking rebirth in Shambhala to practice, Shambhala takes rebirth inside them. A second explanation could be linked to Tantric Buddhas like Rajayogini, who have different deities in her entourage, such as Udongma, Kidongma, Pak Tong Ma, and Chang Sung Ma. If we give a holy name like Udong Ma to someone, he will then assume the identity of the deity Udong Ma, as that becomes his name. It will plant a seed for him to truly become one with that enlightened entourage deity. Having the name plants the seed in your mind to achieve Udongma, who is an emanation of Raja Yogini's own mind. Raja Yogini's holy land is called Kachara Paradise, which is the name of our own organization. We live under the banner of Kachara Paradise. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's center lives under the banner of Shambala. There is no difference. One who is born in Shambhala will practice the Dharma, and one who is born in Kachara paradise will also practice the Dharma. There is no real difference. The only difference is that our pure realm is somewhere that we cannot see or perceive with this body at this time. However, Shambhala can still be perceived because it is situated on this earth. So the real Kalapa court is the royal court of Shambhala, and the kings of Shambhala are special because they possess a lineage of practicing Buddhism and the Kalachakra teachings from previous kings. Each king would pass down from father to son the teachings, and each king has a special duty to teach the Dharma. You must be thinking, how is it possible for a king to be a guru? It is very possible. Just look at the Dalai Lamas. They simultaneously functioned as kings and gurus of Tibet. It is definitely possible for someone to carry that dual function. When Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's organization was recognized to be based on Shambhala, naturally his house became the ladrang of the king because he is the ambassador. When the ambassador of a country goes anywhere within Singapore, for example, he will be treated equal to that of the prime minister as he represents the leader of his own country. It was the same thing for Chogyam Trungpa as the representative of the Rigten enlightened kings of sacred Shambhala. The whole society is called enlightened. The whole society is called enlightened because its main focus is to become enlightened. When we work in the ladrang, the Lama will assign certain positions to us. If we carry out the positions well, it would be very beneficial for us. If we run away, escape, or we don't carry the position well, it will be reflected in our Dharma practice. When we run away from the ladrang, we don't do our work well, or we even joke about it and say, oh, I don't want it, I can't do it. Then we will always run away, and it becomes a clear sign of our mind and practice. Most people who run away from the ladrang will be very bad in their own personal practice and affairs. It is like that because the ladrang and our own personal practice are very similar. Our work and our actions are two sides of the same coin. The ladrang becomes a yardstick for gauging our own spiritual practice. People who carry out their assigned ladrang work well will transform. They will change and they will keep transforming. People who cannot do their assigned ladrang work well will run away. That is why Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche put many people in his ladrang. He planned to guide his students to achieve inner Shambhala as well as outer Shambhala. To achieve the state of inner Shambhala is to attain enlightenment, while achieving the outer physical Shambhala is to be reborn there. In other organizations, the Lama could be guiding his students to Kachara paradise, Tushita heaven, or Amitabha's western paradise. It all depends on the Lama and where he would like to bring us. And wherever we go does not really matter as long as it is a place where we can practice the Dharma. Whether we get teachings from Amitabha, the Rigden kings, Vrajayogini, or Maitreya Buddha does not really matter. Therefore, what Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche did with his students and household was very profound. It would have brought tremendous benefit to them on many, many levels. So right from the beginning, if you have strength and you push yourself by putting in real effort, you will cause many people to think, I want to work for the Ladrang too. Then you can rejoice when all your efforts bear fruit and when it brings tremendous benefit to so many people on so many levels. Those people who didn't make it in the Ladrang will realize this later, and they will regret deeply. They will somehow realize deep inside that a great opportunity was lost. All Ladrangs are the same everywhere because all Lamas have good motivation and all accomplished Lamas will use similar methods to help their student. They just use different labels and have different names for what they are doing, but in essence, they are all the same. And that's the end of the chapter. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And we'll end this with a completion dedication in Tibetan. Jangjun Sencho Rinpoche, Mage Panam Geyishi, Ge Panam Pame Payang, Goni Gondo Pewashu, Doni Toa Rinpoche, Mage Panam Geyishi, Ge Panam Pame Payang, Goni Gondo Pewashu, Daso Jini Sapage Wadi, Tandandro Waguna Kampadang, Jepa Jesu no Santrapai, Tamping Imporindo Sa Seishu, Kewa Kuntu Yandala Madan, Dromi Jogi Panalo Joji, Sadam Langi Yoterazone, Doji Jangi Ngopangatuso, Gewadi Yododa, Lama Sangyo Druyun, Drewachika Malupa, De Salago Pashu, Jogi Pusungapa, Josunapa Pewala, Geki Samasi Wadan, Tungi Malu Sangwasho, Dadam Senge Dosunda, Drewe Songi Latini, Gewa Losantrapai, Tampayo River, Gishi, Nimodeles and Dele, Nimiganyandeleshi, Nisentato delle Pel, Kuncho Songi Jingilo, Kuncho Songi Odoso, Kuncho Songi Trasi, Sho, Jesulama Kusin Rapting Ching, No Katrini Chochuke Padang, Losam Tempe Dromi Sapsongi, Droe Munsatatoni, Gishi, Gangri Rawe Koishin Kamden, Bendan Dewa Malu Yoin, Sharonze one tensing get so he shapishi de badu de Gishi. Dumping order malupa, then the dollar sal do so, God and Dempa long chopna, Kepa Sushik Shukden Cell. Thank you for joining me, and please do join me again for my next chapter.